Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today in the course of communication skills, we are studying formal and informal communication. So for this, we have the resource material, Business Communication by M.K. Sehgal, Excel Book India, and Sen L 2007, Communication Skills, PHI Learning Private Limited. And we have used two websites to quote here, and the reference of website is given very much at the end of this presentation. So please listen carefully. This is very important in your course. Someone said correctly, the very attempt of not to speak speaks a lot. Communication plays a crucial role in our life as people interchange their ideas, information, feelings, and opinions by communicating. So formal communication is one that passes through predefined channels of communication throughout the organization. On the contrary, informal communication refers to the form of communication which flows in every direction, that is, it moves freely in the organization. So this IE stands for it as, that means that is. So this is very accurately said, that if we are not making an attempt to speak is itself a speech. So this means that we should know our cue, that when we are to speak or when we are to stay silent. So in our organizational structure, most of the times we are receiving plenty of information, but there we need to be making sure which information should we hold or which information should we circulate. Every information is not to be shared with everyone, and every information is not to be held as well. So we need to make it certain that which information should we share or which information should we hold. So here we are having difference between formal and informal communication. So this is all about our verbal communication that we in the organizational structure come across formal and informal means of communication. Now first of all, meaning. So this is the basis of comparison. That first comparison is on the basis of meaning. So as far as meanings are concerned, formal communication is a communication in which the interchange of information is done through the predefined channels. Is known as formal communication. Like we have predefined channels in the formal communication. Now those predefined channels can be your email, your proper and formal meetings where you sit, or there can be proper group within an organization who sit and think about the organization. So we have certain predefined channels which we use to convey information, and when we are using those predefined channels, then we are sure of this thing, that we should not create false information or we should not share the false information in that. As far as informal communication is concerned, informal communication is in which the interchange of information does not follow any channel, that is, the communication stretches in all directions. Like in this, we are not bound to use any channel. We can talk to anyone in any direction. I can talk to my colleague, I can talk to a person serving in my institute as a helper, I can talk to the cleric, I can talk to the admin officer, I can talk to the principal. So there is no predefined channel who I am going to talk and who I am not going to talk. Then another name. So there are certain other names for formal and informal communication. So mostly we use official communication in shape of formal communication and grapevine communication in place of informal communication. So official communication is which is notified, which is black and white, which comes from an authentic person, a reliable person of the organization. And grapevine communication comes through rumors, or this is unofficial communication or informal communication. Now, why is grapevine said grapevine? Because this was seen that while picking up the grapes from the garden, or from the orchard, all the grape pickers, since they were working in very close proximity, so they tended to share lots of information with each other. So from there, this idea sprung, or this word came into being, that grapevine communication means sharing unofficial or informal news or report or some talk that you listen. So this is grapevine communication, which is sometimes based upon rumors, or sometimes that is an unofficial verdict. So if we generally talk about the reliability, so we will try to know that formal communication is more reliable and informal communication is comparatively less reliable. So why is formal communication reliable? Because that is proper documented, that comes from the authentic person, that comes from the authentic people, authentic group, a group of people working as administration. So when they are explaining something, that has to be having the nature of being official or being formal. So formal communication is more reliable. We rely on the formal communication. For example, if a colleague who may not be that much trustworthy in sharing of information, if he breaks a news, so people may not trust his news, but rather if the news comes from a high up in the same organization, or if a person who is a delegated person to share the news, so we will consider that more reliable information. So informal communication is comparatively less reliable. We don't rely on that because that may be a gossip, that may be a grapevine. So we are not sure of it, and we do not much share that news unless we are confirmed. For example, if there comes a news about vacations in some organization, or if some news erupts about the changing of the structure of the management or anything like this, then if this is coming from the people who are not much reliable, we will not be sharing it or will not be trusting the news. But if it comes from the reliable group, then we understand it and we share the news with the people. So as far as the speed is concerned, the formal communication is slow and informal communication is very fast. So this is often seen as example that whenever a teacher is talking about assignments or about presentations or about midterms or final terms, or if he is giving some task to the class, so the reach of that task to the students is very slow. That doesn't reach a mass of the public, and you often listen to the complaints that we could not get the message, or I was not informed about the assignment. But if it is about some informal gathering, if it is about some function, some party or some get together, then the information reaches everyone, because grapevine communication or informal communication has a tendency to travel very fast as compared to the formal communication. So formal communication, since is shared by a reliable person, so most of the people do not share it, most of the people hold it, because this may be sometimes very sensitive. So sharing a sensitive news may be very problematic at some stage, but informal communication is not problematic, that shares very fast because people are not afraid of the outcomes of it. Now as far as the evidence is concerned, formal communication is most of the times written and documented, So there is written documentary evidence available, and informal communication is not written, and there is no written evidence for that thing. So written documentary means that if there is some announcement by an organization, by a university, so they always issue a notification. So whenever there is a news, we wait for the notification. We don't believe in a non-verbal talk. We don't believe in a grapevine, for example. So we are waiting for someone reliable to break the information. Oh, we are waiting for notification to be issued, because that is in a written form and that has to be accepted. And then if we talk about informal communication, then this, since it is a rumor, so rumor is not documented anywhere. So rumor is only the use of verbal means. We are listening and we are forwarding the message the way we listen. So since it is not written somewhere, it doesn't come from someone reliable, it doesn't come from someone official, so we don't have any written evidence or record for that. Next basis for comparison is time. So time consuming or not. So formal communication is time consuming and informal communication is not time consuming. So formal communication is time consuming because again it takes time to ensure the reliability, and the person who is issuing the orders or the information, he or she makes it very clear and is very much sure, then the message is circulated. So when a person is sure or clear, then it will be proper time to circulate the message, because the message has to reach so many people. So until or unless one person is not sure about the authenticity of something, the message is not shared with the people. Hence the formal communication is time consuming. Informal communication is never time consuming, rather it travels very fast, as we have talked already. It reaches the people within no time. So the rumors are made in such a way that a person talks to another person, and that person talks to another two people, and those two people talk to next four people, and so on. So that rumor keeps moving. That is why we find rumors circulating in our day-to-day life in organization, because rumors are always traveling faster than the formal communication. As far as advantage is concerned, formal communication is effective due to timely and systematic flow of information. So it is effective, and it is having a timely flow, because there is a proper system working behind it. The order or information is coming from some think tanks and coming through a reliable person in some reliable manner. So there is systematic flow. Informal communication is efficient, like it travels fast, because employees can discuss work related problems. This saves time and cost of the organization. Like here we need to think, or we need to informally discuss the ideas. I can give another example for it. For example, if in government based building or government owned building, for example university, if we need to purchase something formally, then we first need to place a formal tender, and then we need to get the bids for that, and then we get a suitable bidder, and then the purchase is done, and taxes and sale taxes, all those things are included. So it is quite time consuming. So but if we are talking to each other and we discuss the problems with each other, and people collect the money and they buy for themselves the thing they are requiring, so this is saving the time and the cost of the organization as well, because it worked efficiently, because people, the employees, they discussed their work related problems and they came up with certain solution. Now disadvantage of formal communication is that there is distortion due to long chain of communication. Sometimes you must have seen that a letter that may be issued by the Minister of Education, then that may go to the Secretary of Education, and from that it travels to the universities, and from universities it travels to the teachers, and from teachers it comes to the students. So this is a long chain, and one single distortion can undo anything. It can change something or many things in the information if the information is not conveyed keeping in mind the reliability or keeping in mind the understanding of the information or comprehension of the information. Whereas informal communication, that is a spread of rumors. So rumors are always traveling very fast, and since rumors are altogether wrong, they are called rumors for that reason. So the travel speed is always very quick, and there is no doubt that they are based on false information. Secrecy, yes, formal communication is secret. Formal communication is not done until or unless it is quite necessary. You get hold on some formal talk or something that is said to you formally, that comes to you when it is understood, when it is authenticated, or when it is believed to be true. So then it comes to you. But informal communication comes to you without any secrecy. Colleagues are talking to each other, they're not bound about whatever they're sharing. They may be sharing their lives with each other, they may be sharing their personal problems with each other, they may be sharing anything. So there is no secret in that. So flow of information is the last thing in basis of for comparison. So here we have the flow of information is only through predefined channels, that there is certain hierarchy through which the news is coming, and that hierarchy cannot be challenged or that cannot be changed. Informal communication moves freely. So people talk to each other freely, rumors spread from here to there freely. So there is no specific channel that, okay, this is the channel from where the rumor will be originated and then this will be conveyed by that person. No, rumors or informal communication, they move freely, whereas we need predefined channels for the formal communication. So in types of formal communication, next we have upward or bottom up communication. So this is a communication in which the flow of information goes from subordinate to superior authority, from subordinate to superordinate, from a clerk to the principal, from a teacher to the principal. So when such information or such news or such communication travels from goes from some subordinate to his boss or superior authority, so that is called upward or bottom up communication. And then we have downward or top down communication. Now this is the communication in which the flow of information goes down from superior to subordinate. For example, if a principal is conveying the information or sharing certain new decisions with his faculty, with his teachers, or with his admin staff, so this is downward or top down communication. Next we have horizontal or lateral communication. Now this is communication between two employees of different departments working at the same level. So if two employees of different departments who are working at the same designation, if they are communicating with each other, so that is called lateral or horizontal. For example, two lecturers working at different universities, if they are talking to each other or having communication with each other, so that is called horizontal communication. And in the same way, crosswise or diagonal communication is the communication between the employees of two different departments working at different levels. For example, if a dean of some university is talking to a lecturer of some other university, so both are from different departments and both are at different scales. So when such people are communicating with each other or speaking with each other, so this is called crosswise or diagonal communication. So next we have informal communication. So the communication which does not follow any predefined channel for the transmission of information is known as informal communication. This type of communication moves freely in all directions and thus it is very quick and rapid. In any organization, this type of communication is very natural as people interact with each other about their professional life, personal life and other matter. So if we talk about formal communication at diagonal level, so a teacher of some university will not be talking informally to a dean of some other university. So in this way, the formal communication is considered to be of slow pace, because even the formal information has to be shared with some predefined channels, whereas if we talk about informal communication, that communication can be moving freely in all the directions, and that is why it is very quick and rapid. So when the people or colleagues, they talk to each other about their professional life, if their personal life or any other matter, for example, so they are having informal communication. So we have types of informal communication. So there are basically 4 types. So first type is single strand chain. So the communication in which one person tells something to another, who again says something to some other person, and the process goes on in a chain relation. So for example, A informed B of something, so B told that thing to C discussed the same thing with D, and D informed E about it. So this is a chain relation where information or rumor or any informal talk that was shared from A, and A shared it with B, and then to C, and then D and E. So this process keeps going on, that a person is in a chain relation, is in, spreading the information. So second is cluster chain. So it is the communication in which one person tells something to some of its most trusted people, and then they tell it to their trustworthy friends, and the communication continues. For example, A shares some news with B, C and D since they are trustworthy, but B shares the news with E and F, C shares it with G, D shares it with H and I. So this means that the rumor is always unstoppable when we are sharing some informal communication or some informal information. So that in shape of rumor prevails even though we are sharing them with the trustworthy people. So not everyone is to be trusted in a way. Rumors spread in a way that even though we are trusting the people, there may be certain people they are trusting. So the information is shared not in form of chain but in form of cluster. So this is even more dangerous. Next we have probability chain. So the communication happens when a person randomly chooses some persons to pass on the information which is of little interest but not important. So this is type of information which is not very sensitive, so that we may be afraid of its leakage, or we may be afraid of it that this should not be shared with much people. So this is not such case in this way. This is an information which is of little interest but not very important. So for example, if I come to know that we may get a certain type of bonus in the next salary. So this is not something very crucial. This is something I heard and I want to share it with my colleagues. So I share it with B, C and E. So C may share it with D, or E may share it with J, and further on. So this is probability chain, that there can be anyone who can be selected, or the information can be shared with anyone. So there is no harm in sharing of that information in a way that this does not give anyone a setback, or this doesn't create a danger for someone. Next we have gossip chain. Now communication starts when a person tells something to a group of people, and then they pass on the information to some more people, and in this way the information is passed on to everyone. So it is said that little knowledge is dangerous. So when we are using that little knowledge and sharing that little knowledge and passing it over to a group of people, then there is quite possibility that that knowledge or informal communication will be shared with the rest of the people. So if a teacher in the class states in a way with the students that I may not be taking class tomorrow, so this may be something on informal base, or he may say that if I am feeling well, then I'll be coming and taking your class, and the lot of students, the group of students shares the same information with the other classes that that teacher is teaching. So in this way the information is shared on group basis. So now as we say that we have WhatsApp groups and Facebook Messenger groups, so those groups are with everyone. So everyone is practically a member of certain group. We find on daily basis that there is always some character assassination about some politician, about some religious figure, about some cricketer, about some celebrity. So that is basically a gossip chain, that we received some information in a group and we are sharing that information in some other group. So this is only to keep or continue the conversation in the group, or to share the breaking news with the group of people. So that continues from one group to another. That is why it is said that you should not be sharing obscene material or unethical material with the people, because it is always forwarded and this is always a sin, and that is a continuous sin, and that is coming in your reward. So at the end of the day, it is you who was the cause of spreading that sin among the people. So gossip chain spreads the most of the information with most of the people. So these are the references, and the material is taken from these websites and these books that I have mentioned here. So you can visit the website or you can read the books, and there could be so many other books having plenty of good material. So you are advised to look every opportunity to get the better knowledge. So thank you very much. Thank you for liking my videos. Please subscribe my channel. Allah bless you.